started. I'm recording this session for our own use. My name is Brigitta Hoeferle. Welcome everyone to the introduction, a concise introduction to Neuro-Linguistic Programming. I'm super honored and excited that we are here together today, as I will give you a deeper insight on what NLP is and how can you implement it in your own life. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, but know that this is an interactive call and I want to hear from you. Use the chat box to communicate with me. Ask any questions. You can put that in the chat box and we're going to go ahead and get started. So, as I shared with you, oh boy, there we go. I was like, oh boy, my internet's really slow today. My name is Brigitta Hoeferle. I'm a communications grandmaster. I've authored all of our curricula, been invited and continue to be invited on stages around the world to speak on communications, not just neuro-linguistic programming, but coaching, speaking, how to become an influential and charismatic speaker. I'm also serving on the board of the International Coaching Federation, and I have built schools in Germany and in the US. I'm the founder of the Montessori School of Cleveland, and I have 2 children. They were my why I started the schools. They're now 16 and 20, and our 20-year-old just moved back to Munich. So I'm really grateful for incredible children that have chosen me to be their mom, and Christian, my husband, their dad, and the beautiful path that they have been on. I want to talk about becoming and filling in the blanks of becoming your greatest self. People come to me, they say, well, what is NLP? So let's start right there. It is within this course or within this introduction, concise introduction, I'm giving you content-rich information so you can be immersed in it. You can interact, hopefully, with me in integrity, and we're going to talk more about integrity in a minute, so you can implement it intentionally as we have an integration of innovative and important information. NLP, let's take it apart. Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Neuro, our operating system right here in our brain. Linguistic, our communication. Programming, the behavior that we have programmed, either ourselves or people around us have programmed us. So programming is nothing unintentional. Well, let me rephrase that. Programming can be unintentional. We might be programmed through advertisement, marketing, our parents, the religious leaders, friends have somewhat programmed or had an influence on us at some specific point, and that became our behavior, that became our part of our belief system, that became part of who we are today. And when you are clear, when you can encode a program, when you can become aware of the program, of what's running you, and decipher it, you can then encode it for your own sake. You can decode it so you can see the whole structure, and then you can encode it intentionally of what you want it to be. So programming is nothing manipulative, and as I'm saying this word manipulation, I want to speak to that right from the get-go. The difference that the center of NLP is to other NLP institutions is the intention behind it. When people come to us and I ask them and I vet them, what do you want to learn NLP for? With what intention are you learning NLP? And they say, well, I want to, sell my stuff to everyone and make a lot of money. I'm not going to teach you. If that's your goal, you're at the wrong address, because when you come from a place of service, And when you are solving a problem that people really have, then they're going to be buyers no matter what. But you just going out and shoving your product or your service down someone's throat, I will not help you with that. I will help you to make a huge difference intentionally, being of service to humanity. Now we're talking, and that's when you will learn from me. We go way back to the founders of Richard Bandler. We are in third lineage to Richard Bandler. The Center of NLP has been around since 1986. I have not owned it since 1986. I have taken on the baton that was handed to me several years ago from my mentor, my master that I learned from, Leif Rowland, who learned from Richard Bandler. So we're third generation from the founder of NLP, Richard Bandler and John Grinder. And we say that to give you information of, don't just learn NLP from YouTube. Don't just learn NLP from anyone. Learn NLP from someone that you have vetted, that you have, that you can trust. And part of trust building is rapport building, and that's one of the strategies that we go deeper into when you decide to take, say, a practitioner course or mastery course or things like that. So NLP, neuro is the brain, linguistic, our communication, programming, our behavior. Now, communication, although I am pointing to my mouth, communication is so much more than just the words that come out of our mouth. It is the words that come out of our mouth is the smallest piece. It is the body language that's the biggest part. Right now you only see the top part or a third of my body, and yet you can read my body language. There's a lot of communication that's going on in my face. Sometimes I have to tell it to shut up separately. That's a whole different story for another time. You see my hand gestures, you see my eye movement, you see the minimal cues in my face, the muscle movements, the minimal muscle movements in my face, the coloring of my skin, again, eye movements, where are my eyes going, trying to find you guys where you're here on the screen. So that's all part, just an example of what NLP is. Now, who is NLP for? NLP is for anyone that is communicating, anyone that has eyes, ears, and a mouth. And there are people that are only communicating through their eyes without their ears because they don't have that luxury, or vice versa. There are people that only are hearing without seeing, and that's how they communicate. We're very inclusive in teaching. It is exploring these new vistas of learning and experience so you can make a change. Because I had a coaching call a few minutes ago with a client that has been with me for several years now, and she's starting to see the word complacency came up. And I said, so what does complacency mean to you? And is it, are you putting a judgment on it? Is it good or bad? And she had this awareness that complacency isn't always bad, and it isn't always good. Being complacent can keep you from growing, but there might be times where complacency is the way to go. So with that little insight, and she's been coaching with me for several years, she's taken our courses, with that little insight, she's gotten so much more confidence in communicating with others and doing the work that she does, and the world changer that she is. So sometimes it's good to have change, and sometimes maybe not. With NLP, we make it simple and enjoyable. It comes down, the quality of your life comes down to the quality of your communication. And that is one of the laws of NLP. So if you do not like parts of your life, then I would say it's go back to the thoughts that you're thinking. I'm going to share a a success law with you later. And there are many laws of success within NLP, and I go through all of them in the practitioner course. Today we're going to touch on a few of them. So differentiating yourself or differentiating your success from failure. I actually don't like to call it failure. I like to call it feedback, because failure is definite. And feedback, there's an opportunity for you to grow. There's an opportunity for you to look at, what's the challenge? What have I just gone through? Am I going to just steer away and never do that thing again so I don't have to endure that failure anymore? Or can I look at it and actually learn something from it? What is the learning within this feedback that I have gotten? And when you look at it from that point of view, there is an excitement of growth and an excitement of continuation in your life. And with the strategies that we teach, you can have those, I'm going to call them superpowers, at your fingertips, because the laws of success are a guarantee to your success, however you define success. I have the Success Pattern Show. I have a guest expert on every week. And when I ask them, when the question comes up, how do you define success, or what's success to you? I've never gotten the same answer twice. And I can truly say, as I'm thinking back of all the guest experts that I've had over the year, no one ever said success equals money. It is always something much greater and much deeper. And there are people out there that would say success equals money. I like to say the money that comes through success is the byproduct. The making a change, a difference in people's lives, that's the true success in my definition. So who wants change? When you say, things need to change, like, we're not going to get into politics or religion or anything like that here, but if you would go into any kind of those areas, whoever you ask, yes, something has to change. And they're very opinionated about it. But when you then ask the individual, so what are you going to do to invite this change? Everyone's like, well, I don't want to do it. You do it. Or they need to do it, whoever they are, right? So, as I said, with NLP, we make that change simple and long-lasting. The knowledge gap, as we're looking at this pie chart, is very simple. A small part is what we know that we know. That's the knowledge that we have, that we can talk about. And then there are the things that we know that we might have read somewhere, or that in a conversation that came up where you go, that's really interesting. I don't know enough about that. Let me learn more. So that's the other little piece of the pie of what you know that you don't know, but you want to learn about it. But the biggest piece of the pie is the things that you don't know, you don't even know yet. For some, they say, well, that's bliss. I would say, I don't know that I can define that as bliss. I would say it's an opportunity for one to go on the journey of learning more. What is it that I don't know? And what would I do with that information once I know it? Will it make a difference in my life? So with that, what you don't know yet, you can invite change, and you make that enjoyable and long-lasting. I want to go through the fixed mindset versus growth mindset really quick. And that chart all in itself already gives you a really good idea of what NLP, or what you can achieve with Neuro-Linguistic Programming, because it starts in your operating system. It starts in your brain. So when we look at the fixed mindset, there's a law of NLP that, and a law of success that says, and I just went blank. There's a law of success that says, if you do not like where you are in your life right now, you got to change your thinking. So in order to change your thinking, you must come from a mindset of growth and of at cause. So you're going to learn more about, as you go deeper into NLP, you're going to learn more about cause versus effect. So people that live in effect live in the mindset of life happens to me, I am not in charge of my life, I am the victim of my circumstances, oh woe is me. At cause is when you live in a growth mindset, when you accept that you are in charge of your life and the only things that you can control are the things that you do, or how you talk, or how you behave, or how you react to something or respond to something. You have no control over what's happening outside. You have no control over what I'm saying or doing here, but you have every control over how are you responding to it? What's the mindset that you have around it? Okay, so growth mindset versus fixed mindset. A fixed mindset looks at challenges and avoids them at all costs. A growth mindset embraces those challenges, invites them, and says, I want to learn more from these challenges, and therefore I go through them. I don't just kind of shy away from them. The fixed mindset looks at obstacles of, this is too hard, I'm going to, we're going to abort the situation, I'm going to stop right here. A growth mindset looks at obstacles to, again, invite the challenge and to persist through the setback in an obstacle. Over, under, around, and through, whatever it takes, I will do. That is a creed of a growth mindset person, of an at-cause person. A fixed mindset looks at effort that it's fruitless and it's just hard work and no one wants to do that. A growth mindset person looks at effort as a path to mastery, as an invitation to do more. If you've ever worked out, do a +1, do more, and achieve more. And it doesn't happen like from 0 to 100 overnight. It happens in steps. And that's where the fixed mindset kind of just, let's go with the first step or the second step because it's just too hard. The fixed mindset looks at criticism as a negative feedback and totally ignores it or doesn't invite it. The growth mindset learns from that feedback. The success of others in the fixed mindset is threatened by the success of others, and the growth mindset actually embraces one of the laws of success and says, they are modeling success for me, so I can then go and do it too. Because if one person can do it, anyone can. If they have a growth mindset and they go through the steps, they invite the challenges, they overcome the obstacles, they will do whatever it takes, they will take the feedback and learn from the feedback, and they will celebrate others in their successes. And that's what we're all about, the center of NLP. All right. So NLP is the science of success. And as I said, I am sharing a success formula with you so you can learn more from it as well. Maybe I make this a little bit smaller. There we go. There we go. All right. So success formula. Step number 1, know what you're aiming for. Know your outcome. What is it that you desire? And don't just make it a dream. Make it something that is clear on the horizon. Number 2, take intentional action, not just any action. Don't just take the dart and go, where shall I throw it today? Let me throw it over here and see where it sticks. No, you first want to have a defined, and we call it in as a strategy, a desired, well-formed outcome. Know what it is, define it very clearly in a positive, and then take intentional action on it. Be very clear what you need to do in order to get there. Number 3, be aware of what's going on in here. Be aware of your mental state, be aware of your emotions, be aware of what's happening in your brain, be aware of the mind chatter that's going on. Be aware of your stinking thinking. Be aware of what's happening in your head as you're thinking about what is it that you desire and what is it that you need to do. Perhaps there might be a mindset coming up of, oh, Brigitta, this works for you, but this doesn't work for me. Well, clearly, you're at a fixed mindset, and it would do you very well to gain more of the growth mindset. Number 4, have behavioral flexibility. This is a very big one, and people go, have behavioral flexibility. What does that exactly mean? Have behavioral flexibility. That means that you want to become a chameleon in your behavior and not get stuck on one behavior. If your behavior in getting your opinion through is screaming and yelling, and because it's worked at some point, that might not be a good behavior to have in other situations or in most situations. So you want to have a palette of behaviors ready for you to tap into so you can flex in and out of those behaviors. That doesn't make you inauthentic. That makes you super flexible. If you ever looked at a gymnast who is moving in all sorts of directions with his or her limbs, they have flexibility in their body. They have physical flexibility. You're going to become flexible in your behavior so you can tap into the exercise or the place that you need to be to actually get to the desired outcome that you desire. So having that behavioral flexibility. Number 5, operate from a physiology and a psychology of excellence. Physiology, your body, how is it manifesting in your body, and a psychology of excellence. And I say excellence and not, specifically not perfectionism, because we're not going to talk about perfectionism, because perfectionism holds you back from taking the steps because it's so big. There's such a big expectation around being perfect. But excellence is doing the very best with the resources that you have available. That's another law of success. Doing the very best with the resources that you have available. So operate from a physical and a mental state of excellence. Always doing the best with the resources that you have available. Be most resourceful with everything that you have at hand. Be most resourceful with everything that you have at hand. And if you feel like that your resources are not getting you to your well-formed outcome, perhaps ask your network, ask the people that you surround yourself with, that perhaps they have an opportunity for you to have a resource for you so you get to the well-formed outcome that you desire to have. So be resourceful with everything to your advantage. Wonderful. Now, let's go into the human communications model. And I want to go through that rather quickly because there's a lot going on. We're going to start at the top left where it says external events. Right here. External events. Okay? The face that you see in the middle, or the head that you see in the middle, that is us, you, taking in an external event. An external event is anything that you are watching, you are observing, that you're taking in through any of your senses. Right now, you're listening to me, you're listening to my words, you're watching me, probably. You're listening to my tonality, you're paying attention to what I'm doing with my hands, with my face, with my eyes, and so forth. So you're taking in information through your senses, the way that you're seeing me, that perhaps there is something that you are sensing, the words that I am saying, the feeling that I am evoking. Perhaps There's a feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I'm on this call. This is such incredible information. That's exactly what I was looking for. So it's creating that feeling of excitement and that feeling of, I want to dive deeper into that. I want to learn more about it. So it's that feeling of excitement. There might also be, because you clearly cannot smell me or taste me right now, but in the space that you're in, there might be smells and perhaps even taste. Maybe you're chewing gum or eating something or drinking something. So there's other information coming to you while you're listening to me. Perhaps you're on your phone, you're listening to me on the phone, or you're watching me on the phone, and while you're here with me on this call, there might be other things going around maybe you're sitting in your car, maybe you are at home, maybe you're still in the office, and there are other things happening around you. A coworker might say something to you or not to you. You might have a smell coming from the kitchen. You might hear the ambulance driving by. You might be becoming aware that the seat that you have been sitting on for so long now is starting to really push against your buttocks, and you're going, this seat is starting to become uncomfortable. You have deleted that information because it was to no use to you up until this point, until I made you aware of it. But in the point that I'm making here is that we delete, distort, and generalize information as they're coming at us. Because as I'm speaking to you and as you're hearing me and seeing me and creating a feeling around it, there's a ton of other things going on. You probably even see the little fan on top of my head. You might have not seen it before, but now that I'm bringing awareness to it, you're now seeing it because you deleted it out, because that's information that you did not need up until this point. So in order for our brain to not go into complete and utter overwhelm, we are deleting, distorting, and generalizing information that are flying at us. We have about 2 to 3 million bits of information flying at us at any given moment. Why do you think our children are having ADHD these days? Because we sit them in front of a TV when they're small and their brain is just completely overloaded with all of these pictures that are flying at them, and they're trying to make sense of them. So we're taking in information, we are learning to delete, distort, and generalize, and we're making our own internal representation of what does that mean? What is Brigitta saying? What does that mean to me? And how does that apply to my life? And which mindset does that evoke? Perhaps it evokes a growth mindset. Perhaps it evokes a mindset of, I want to learn more. And that shows up in your physiology, that in return shows up outwards to the people that you surround yourself with in your behavior. You might as well be leaving this call today and your behavior is all upbeat, all excited, and you're smiling, and people are like, well, you're sure having a good day, because there was an impact that was made through an external event, and you made up your mind of what that means to you and how you feel about it. And this is happening at any given moment, and it can switch in a heartbeat by a phone call coming in, by someone coming into your office, or something happening in the family, or whatever the situation may be. So it can turn in a moment. But when you have what I said earlier, when you have that behavioral flexibility, you can catch it. You can catch it, and you will not allow other people to crimp your style, to take over control of how you feel, over your emotions. So that is part of the human communications model, and I like bulldoze through it. We spend an entire morning on just that when we go through the NLP practitioner course. So as I said earlier, your results are only as good as your mindset. And I want to share this success formula with you. Thoughts lead to feelings, feelings lead to actions, and actions lead to your results. Thoughts lead to feelings, feelings lead to your actions, and actions lead to your results. Now let's decipher that really quick. Let's go through say your alarm is ringing in the morning, and you open your eyes and you see it's raining outside, and the thought is, oh great, it's raining outside. That evokes a feeling of it's yucky. I don't feel like getting out of bed. This is going to be a horrible day. So you're starting to have that internal dialogue with yourself, making up your mind what the rain outside means to you. That gets you into actions, or in this case, probably lack of actions, as you are pulling your covers over your head and saying, nope, not getting out of bed. Therefore, at the end of the day, you have no results to show for. You might have had great intentions, an entire list of things that you wanted to get done today, but your thoughts turned into your feelings of this is going to be a yucky day, and at that moment, you decided that it's going to be a yucky day, and you manifested it. You self-sabotaged yourself into not getting the results that you want for that day. Now, great news is that this is a success formula. We've just gotten really, really good at misusing this formula. Thoughts lead to feelings, feelings lead to actions, actions lead to results. And here's the success formula. The alarm goes off. It goes off. You open your eyes, you look outside, it's raining. Your thought is, great, it's raining. I can get all of the tasks done that I want to get done. That creates a feeling of excitement. That creates a feeling of, let's get stuff done. That gets you into action. You jump out of bed with excitement, with looking forward to doing all of the things that you wanted to get done. And at the end of the day, you're going to look back and go, yep, did this, check, check, check. And you have results to show for. So it is all about the process. It is never about being perfect. Quite frankly, no one is perfect. No one's ever going to be perfect. So let go of being perfect and invite the process. Invite the doing the very best with the resources that you have at any given moment. A few years ago, you probably can see it here on the screen. A few years ago, I broke my wrist severely. We just moved in here in Atlanta in our new house, and in getting things set up, I broke my wrist really, really bad. Now, I was invited to speak in California the week after, and I had emergency surgery twice on my wrist. I had a big old steel plate in my wrist, and I went because, over, under, around, and through, whatever it takes, I will do. I went to California, and when I called them and I said, look, I'm still coming to speak. I just wanted you to know I broke my wrist. I just had emergency surgery. I'm going to be in a cast. I have this plate in my hand and all of that good stuff. Can you accommodate me with this little injury that I have on my hand? And they're like, oh my gosh, if you don't want to come, we can certainly call it off. We can find a different speaker. I said, no, I'm coming. That's who I am. When I'm making a commitment, I am making a commitment. And I did the very best with the resources that I had. And people were raving fans afterwards, because there were times where literally the operation was a week before. I was flying. I was feeling my heart throbbing in my arm the entire flight. I was like, oh my gosh, I've never felt anything like it. And I get to tell the story of going over, under, around, and through. It wasn't as perfect as I normally have my speaking engagements, but it was just as perfect. It was beautiful. I did the greatest, the very best with the resources that I had available. So it is a process. It is an ongoing process. NLP allows you to become what you think. It allows you to attract what you feel, to generate what you articulate, and to create what you imagine. This is just the beginning. This is not the end. In our NLP community, and I am inviting you to this NLP community if you want to learn more about NLP. We're connecting the known to the unknown. That's an NLP success, law of success. So you can move away from what is not working for you and move towards your success in your business life and in your personal life. Come join us to the NLP Nation. That's all I'm going to say. We are all about learn, do, teach. We have structured weekly calls. We want to invite you. It's $497 for 1 year. You're going to have access to me on Mondays and on Fridays. We do a kickstart call every Monday. We've been doing that now for over 3 years. We have a book series that we do every Friday on the laws of success. We have an incredible community of just absolutely beautiful people that are coming from all walks of life. One was just here and donated furniture for our new center that we are grand opening this Friday, so it's in 2 days. And he was just here, Major, who's an incredible person. He's in insurance, he's a real estate investor. There's so many great people from really all walks of life, educators, teachers, rabbis, religious leaders, gosh, you name them, tool belt implementation masters, just beautiful people. I want to share with you, this is how you can get in touch with us. I think you already know that. Brigitta at centerofnlp.com is my direct email, so shoot me an email. Follow us on all of the social media, Center of NLP. But before I let you go, I want to just celebrate with you this little thing, which is our training center. And I'm going to run this video with you really quick, so bear with me. This one. Today's groundbreaking day. I'm so grateful to everyone in this team for coming out and starting to do their magic. Thank you so much for all of you guys' support. So I get a little emotional and looking at this, because if you could smell me, you would not want to smell me right now, because I've been working over there for the grand opening in 2 days. I will share with you the grand opening flyer. If you're in Atlanta, please stop by. If you're not in Atlanta, we have a Zoom link, and you can share, you can be there, you can celebrate with us. It's going to be a great grand opening. It's definitely been a lot of work, and it's been so worth it. And I want to give a big shout out to everyone that was part of it and has just contributed over the last, gosh, 1.5 years. And there were a lot of obstacles, you guys, over the pandemic in getting this training center up and running. And here we are. And it started at a course that I taught or co-taught with one of our faculty members, John Kurth, in October 2019. And we were doing an exercise, which was part of the Crossroads of NLP. And the exercise is a remembering exercise. And I remembered in the future this training center, and I got really vivid and clear on what the center is going to be and for whom it's going to be, and now we're almost finished. So it makes me very humble, and I thank you for allowing me to share this with you guys. I see, Christy, that you came out. It's good to see you as in person. And if you have any questions, please feel free to come out, ask any questions.
I was just really excited to be able to take part in this. So thank you very much. And I had noticed that you got very emotional while watching the video, and that was refreshing because a lot of people try to be so clinical or robotic a lot of times. And so to see your genuine passion in what you do is it's very exciting and refreshing. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for your kind email. I really appreciate it. I would love to chat more with you and see how I can support you, and just shoot me an email, and I'll definitely shoot Layla and Aiko, who was here earlier, and Christy, the flyer for the grand opening, and would love to see you just on Zoom. We're going to have you, on a big screen so everyone can be there. If you're there in person or not, you're still going to be there. You're going to be part of it, and it's just going to be a great celebration. Will it all be perfect? Probably not, and I let go of that a long time ago, so it's all good. It's a baby that's being born. If you ever had babies, that just takes pretty much all of you. So thank you for being here. I hope to see you soon again at another intro, or even better, in person somewhere sometime. Bye, guys. Bye.